Oh, hello there, Hype and Love family. I'm Kyle, and I'm from the North. I'm joined here by Gemma Stark, or, as you know, Secrets of the Citadel. And today, we are here for episode number 28 of the Citadel of Hype podcast. Gemma, what are we talking about today?
I literally have no idea what I've just let myself in for. Can I just say how awesome it is to see you with a history of Westeros backdrop right now? You need to explain to everybody what's up with that.
So, everyone, I'm not sure if you noticed the background. These maps are part of the legendary, we call it the Big House or the House of Westeros, where History of Westeros does their podcasting. So, I'm actually in Atlanta right now for Dragon Con, but this is the backdrop. And we wanted to make sure we got a stream in, and they so kindly offered this area for our live stream today. So, as you can see, there's all sorts of awesome maps. I'm kind of in the middle of them. There's another one over here. But so I'm at Aziz and Ashaya's house from History of Westeros. There's Aziz in the background. Aziz, Ashaya, they're chilling over here while we do our stream. So Gemma, today we are going to talk about everything Game of Thrones Season 8. And there was a little snippet the other day that people are freaking out about. I'm not so freaked out about it because it's a very small thing. And some people are saying pimp in the North. Oh my God, that's hilarious. But me and Gemma haven't done a podcast for 2 weeks. You know, Gemma's been doing her own thing and I've been busy traveling around at Worldcon, which we'll talk a little bit about later, some George R. R. Martin stuff. But I think today what we're going to do is we're going to open it up to all of you. And we're going to have a fun Q&A. We're going to talk about all sorts of Game of Thrones Season 8 theories, endgame stuff. And, it got pushed back, so we definitely got to talk about that as well, Gemma.
Yeah, we've got a few things to talk about. So this is going to be a little bit of, think of a Britishism, hodgepodge. This is going to be a hodgepodge of different ideas and conversations. Hi to everybody in the chat. Hi, Aziz and Ashaya in the background. I've already said hi to your cats. There's about 5 million cats there, which is hilarious because Kyle's allergic. So if you see his face gradually
there may be a cat appearance at some point. There are cats jumping around. Jake and Aziz's cat was here earlier. He really likes the coat. Apparently, he might think it's a member of his family or something. But yeah, the cats are pretty curious about doing their thing here. So we may have cats. Oh, Aziz is gonna. Oh, we got. Guys, we have a kitty. This is Jake, and he's famous in the Song of Ice and Fire community. See, watch. Let's see if he likes the coat. He's like, okay. I'm gonna pass this cat back to Aziz. Oh my God. All right, back to the actual podcast. Like I said, we're the most unprofessional podcast in the Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones community, if you don't know who we are. But let's have a conversation, Gemma. Where should we start? Game of Thrones Season 8 has been pushed back. So me and you have the same sentiment. I'm going to let you go first, but we'll both give our hot takes here.
Yeah, we had a little chat about this before we came on live. As you know, we message back and forth pretty much all the time, like at 3, 4 in the morning, don't we, Kyle?
Gemma messages me. Gemma messages me, yeah.
This is outrageous. But yeah, so we are kind of essentially on the same page with how we feel about Game of Thrones being put back. If you didn't hear, if you're not aware what we're talking about, basically they haven't given us a date still, but what they have confirmed is that it's going to be put back. People were kind of assuming it was going to be around April, but it seems that we're putting back maybe 2 months.
There's conflicting statements. Apparently HBO, like Oz from Watchers on the Wall did tweet out yesterday that, you know, I guess Aziz had a great point about this. We were talking about this yesterday. There's a conflicting between the executives and the showmakers, because the executives are like, hey, it's going to come out in April. This is when we want it. But then the showmakers are like, no. We need to do the VFX and make it sure it's going to be the best season 8 we can have. So there's this we don't know when the hell it's going to happen, but I'm assuming they want to get it in before they can, so they can qualify for the Emmys, but it's definitely a possibility that it does not get there in time.
Even the chat's conflicted right now, Kyle. We've got April, June. So it's literally nobody knows. Shall I say hi to some of the people in the chat while
let's do some shout outs.
Okay, we have got Christine, Kimberly G, J.R. Rowley, hi JR, Nuncle Joe, John Haymaker, PG, If Ice and Fire? Has that changed? Was it Of Ice and Fire before?
PJ, maybe she did change it. PJ, If Ice and Fire, it used to be PJ of Ice and Fire.
I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah, you've confused us now, PJ. Attila Angel, Pat Stone, hi Pat, Mama Ogre, Chrissy of Old Stones, Amanda Duncan, Sunrixian, hi, Sunrixian.
Mallory's
Dark Blackfire, A Song of Hype. What a name.
That's
the
Preston.
Gorgeous Herb Coswell.
Yeah.
Stephanie H. I think I've got everybody.
Why do you always say H? H. You always say it like that.
I say it because that's how we pronounce it in English, Kyle.
Fine. All right. So back to the conversation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and being patient with us for not having podcasts. So here's the thing. I'm totally cool with getting it in April because that means it's sooner, and that means we can talk about it and have amazing streams and theorize, and then get the end of Thrones and finally get the conclusion of the TV show. Now, I would be okay with it if it does go into the summer. However, that does complicate some things. I'm going to Worldcon and DragonCon again next year, and I don't know. They're trying to make Con of Thrones happen too, and they're trying to figure out like when the season is going to start so they can schedule that after the season. So that's kind of a complication, right? I mean, it is screwing up people's plans because people want to know. I have a countdown.
I mean, for me personally, it takes as long as it takes, and if it takes longer, then we've all been very, very patient, haven't we? What's a couple of months between friends when we've been waiting years for the Winds of Winter? I don't mind personally, but I know exactly what you're saying, Kyle. There's a lot of cons specific to Game of Thrones, like Con of Thrones that you mentioned, and without that confirmation, that they're kind of in limbo right now. And I'm on the Con of Thrones page on Facebook, and it's almost daily now. Somebody comes in. When's the date? Where's the place? When's it set for? What have we got confirmed? And they're just not giving us anything yet because they can't make any decisions. And I'm sure they're not the only people that are in limbo right now because this is huge. It's the final season. People do make arrangements around these things. So yeah, we kind of need to know whether it's one or the other. At least just tell us, right? Make a decision, guys.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm kind of on the same page as you, Gemma. I mean, I want, I love the books in the show. I started out with show stuff on the channel, and then I read the books. And Gemma, you read the books first. So for me, I'm really happy that we got both mediums. And regardless, I think season 8 is going to be amazing. We've me and George have got to interview Paul Fairfield a couple times, and she's really been outspoken about how the special effects are going to be absolutely insane in season 8. Of course, these people work on the show, so they're going to hype it up regardless because they're part of that community. But I'm really excited, and I think if they do take the extra time, it doesn't bother me at all because we've already been waiting. We know how to wait for Thrones. I mean, we get 10 episodes. Yes. We've got 10 episodes a year. We got 7 last year. I mean, what's a little bit like a couple extra months if it does get into the summer?
Can I just take a moment to ask you a question about your coat, please?
Oh, you're gonna ask
me
from
a vegan's point of view, and I know a few people have mentioned this in the chat right now. You know what I'm going to ask you, right? Please give me the answer I want.
Is this faux fur? Gemma, I haven't even checked the tags. I saw it and I bought it as soon as I saw it because I wanted to dress up as Tormund at DragonCon, but I was like, I don't know if I want to do a full, because this thing right now, it's hot. Like I'm sweating. And so on Saturday, we're going to this thing called The North Remembers How to Party. Tara Lynn from Ice and Fire Con is going to be there. Aziz, Ashaya, a bunch of the A Song of Ice and Fire community people. Emmett Booth, he's not a cast with Brendan Beefish, I believe. Aziz, is that what their podcast is called?
Not a cast, Beefish and
Beefish and Emmett. They have a great podcast. I've only checked it out a few times, but they're awesome. And then Chloe and Eliana. I don't know, is Eliana going, Aziz? Eliana is not going, but Chloe who's dating Emmett, actually, she's going to be coming, and and they do a Drunk of Song of Ice and Fire podcast.
They do Girls Gone Canon.
And Girls Gone Canon. They're going to be there. Yeah, so there's a pretty big Song of Ice and Fire community that's going to be there. There's going to be costume contests going on. I've already talked to some people what they're going to be dressing up as, and I was like, I can't go there in just like regular street clothes. I have to, and I mean, I told you guys I was going to be cosplaying at Con of Thrones.
Everybody in the chat has noticed your complete ignoring of my original question, by the way. Is it real or is it fake, Kyle? Just fess up.
I don't know, Gemma. I haven't looked at the tags.
How do you not know?
Is this fake for guys? I don't know. I think Ashaya said, "Who cares?" Oh, Gemma's a vegan. Gemma, you've offended a vegan, Ashaya. Oh my God.
You think I got it from a Furman.
Yeah, I got it from a thrift store. So I just thought I put it on and I'm like, damn, I want to go as Party Torment, and some of you are calling me Pimp in the North. So that's not really answering your question, Gemma. But I'm not taking this off to check if it's real fur or not.
Yeah, people are appreciating it, and we're just gonna assume it's fake, okay?
And you guys are more concerned about the cats than the podcast. How rude of all of you in the chat to not pay attention to what me and Gemma are saying and only care about the cats.
You've got loads of news, haven't you, Kyle? This is the thing. I said to Kyle before we came on, I said, look, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, literally the most interesting thing I've done in the last 2 weeks is buy a new handbag. So it's an awesome handbag, don't get me wrong, but unless you all want to sit and hear about my Pac-Man handbag, which I'm pretty sure you don't, you need to tell us and me what you've been up to, because you've just been having some wild
Okay, you guys are triggering me in the chat. I'm going to check if this is real or not. For fuck's sake. I'm getting demonetized now.
Do we need a drum roll?
Where the hell is it? I don't even know if there is a tag that says it or not. You guys may have
It's got eye sockets, then it's probably not fake.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything on there. I don't know, guys. I think it's fake. Word is going to announce that it's fake, okay?
$70 probably was fake.
Yeah, it's definitely fake. I don't know how much.
Let's go with fake.
Okay, people, let's focus on the podcast. Wow, rude.
Yes.
What were we talking about? I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
You were going to tell us about where you've been, who you've spoken to, and I'm just going to sit back because we haven't had as much chance to catch up as we normally would. We've had a bit of back and forth, but you've got loads to tell me and loads to tell everybody in the chat and everybody who watches this later.
Yeah, I got three books signed by George R. R. Martin, which is awesome. Karen Richmond and Maura Lee were the recipients of 2 of those for being such amazing supporters of the channel. They've been so generous through GoFundMe's and Patreon and all that. I wish I could have got more books signed, but PJ of Ice and Fire comes to mind. She's amazing. All these other people that have supported the channel, Carol Brown, but Maura Lee and Karen have been like. And I think everyone pretty much agreed that they should get the books. So I went to go see George. Like, I saw George R. R. Martin like 5 different times or 4 different times over at Worldcon. I actually got to go to a Brotherhood Without Banners party, which is like pretty much the original fandom of the Song of Ice and Fire on Westeros.org. And George was there. I had to do a ghost chili vodka. Was it vodka or tequila, guys?
Tequila or whiskey? I don't know what you said.
Yeah, but anyways, it was hot. My throat was burning, and George was there partying. George R. R. Martin was there partying in person. He wasn't there for too long, but got to meet George and chat with him briefly, and he asked me if this was my first ever Worldcon. I said yes, and he basically said you should come back to California, which basically means I should move to California, I think, because I love the weather, and I'm tired of all the winters in the cold North, Gemma. But I got to meet George.
Quite literally from going from one extreme to the other, though, you realize you could not be more opposite. One's
I don't even want to go back to Canada, and that's like kind of betrayal of my people. Yeah. One is frozen and California is on fire, unfortunately. So two extreme opposites. But yeah, I know I'm kind of betraying my people and saying that I don't even want to go back to Canada, but I have to go back at some point. So. But anyways, yeah, that was really cool. And then we went to see George R. R. Martin in Redwood City with John Picasso, and he got interviewed there. And obviously, Ashaya broke the news that Dark Sister got taken to the wall, and Aziz found out that Bittersteel didn't have children. And I asked about how he feels about how he's influencing people's stories and characters and all that. And there were so many great questions. That was really awesome. And then, just George was in great spirits all week. And I really think that The Winds of Winter is coming out next year for sure, whether it's before the season or after. I think it's going to be like one day after season 8. People are going to freak out. So, that's what happened in Worldcon. And I got to meet so many cool people. Shout out to the Brotherhood Without Banners. We're part of the Free Company of the Greenleaf of the Brotherhood Without Banners. So LML got inducted, me, Aziz, Ashaya, George, and Angie, and some other people as well.
Actually,
Elodia as well, yeah. LML's wife was inducted as well. So we're part of the original Brotherhood Without Banners. How cool is that? And George was the one that started this group, and originally he would like give people tasks to like find like burnt ends in Kansas City, like barbecue, or like the best food in like certain cities, like give them little tasks to find stuff to be inducted. So it's a little bit different now. The other Brotherhood Without Banners find people to get inducted and whatnot, and yeah. Ghost Chili Fire Shot. I don't know if I would do that again. It was really hot.
I would wake up in the morning and you've just sent me this flurry of pictures of you with George R. R. Martin, you with Ashaya and Aziz and LML, and I wasn't even a little bit jealous, honestly.
I don't know what you're talking about, CC Stark. The GoFundMe is acting weird. It's worked perfectly fine for everyone else, as far as I know, because someone made a donation yesterday. So maybe try refreshing and all that, but we won't focus on that. We can talk about that after if there's any more issues. Also, I'm here in Atlanta. Aziz and Ashaya have so graciously allowed me to stay with them for a couple days before I get my Airbnb tomorrow, and DragonCon is happening. And you guys know that I was coming down here. I'm launching Marvelous next week on September 6th when I go to Houston with Blaze Manga, and we're going to be working on that for like a full month. So we're going to be doing the Marvel channel. But you're on Pilu Aspect. And or Pilu and Alfie Allen were originally going to DragonCon, and Alfie got injured, and Pilu had to do some more filming. So I was gonna get that footage for all you guys, and I was gonna announce that we were actually gonna get those interviews and have them, but unfortunately we didn't get Lena last year, and we didn't get the Greyjoys this year. So it's a bit of a bummer, but there's a bunch of Thrones panels there this weekend, and there's like 2 different days where people are hundreds of people are getting together with Thrones cosplaying. We're going to interview cosplayers and people from the Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones community. I'm going to share that on the channel. And the North Remembers had a party. I'm going to go there and film some of that, and maybe even live stream for you guys from there. So we'll see if I'm able to do that. But there's a lot of cool stuff here happening this weekend. I find out, I think it's tonight or tomorrow, who I get to interview. We're going to get some Marvel interviews, I'm pretty sure. So we'll see what we get. Hopefully.
Can I just say thank you to Chrissy and JR in the chat, and everybody actually keeping on top of the, moderating like bosses there, sharing links and all sorts of stuff going on there. Really do appreciate you guys taking your job very, very seriously, I must say. The Halo Aspect and Alfie Allen thing, I know you were disappointed about that, right? And also, Worldcon didn't feature any Game of Thrones panels either, or even Marvel panels either. I mean,
they had one Marvel
panel.
They did. They had a Black Panther panel where they talked about discrimination in Hollywood for people of color, and how Black Panther has I mean, it was talked about before, but has really impacted that community as far as like bringing to light, this kind of cast, because that was so unique. How many Caucasian males were in that movie? I think it was one or two. Like it was just a few.
It was Martin Freeman, I think, a British actor who was famous for a lot of things. I love him. He was in The Office, the British Office.
And the guy who plays Smeagol and Ulysses Claw, I can't remember his name. Who's the guy who plays?
Of course, yeah.
Who's the guy who plays Schmeagol in Lord of the Rings? Andy Serkis is also in. But they talked about discrimination. It was a great panel. They talked about discrimination and kind of their experience in Hollywood for writers and all sorts of stuff because, as you know, it has not always been equal, not in the slightest. So.
Peter Griffin has asked a question in the chat.
Yes.
Gemma, do you have any signed George R. R. Martin books? Yes, I do. I have a hardback copy of A Dance of Dragons that was signed by George R. R. Martin that I found in a second-hand bookshop. I kid you not. It was the find of my life. I could not believe it. And then I obviously I bought it and I came home and I went online and I compared the autograph, obviously, and it's exactly the same as what Kyle's got on all of his books. It's awesome. So yeah, it's legit, and it's my prized possession.
I asked Gemma if she had anything signed, and she said yes. I was going to send something to Gemma because Gemma's my YouTube bestie, but we both decided that it would be better off to give to one of you guys.
And to get me Minnie Mouse ears instead.
She got her damn Minnie Mouse ears, everyone. We actually got a gift sent to us here at the History of Westeros house, and it's from Misty. So I want to check out what this is. We're going to do a live unboxing, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be some sort of alcohol. She did speak about it, but I'm just going to open it up. It could be something completely different. I could be getting trolled, as you guys like to troll me.
Oh, George, Big Jeezy's in the chat. Hi, George.
Oh, guys, we got another kitty. This is Xerxes. Oh, look at how pretty he is. This is the one that woke up on my chest this morning. I was like, why is there a motor on my chest? And Aziz has a beard, and what he does is he rubs against your beard, and he tries to love you up. But that's Xerxes. He's beautiful. I woke up with him, and I'm allergic to cats. I woke up with him on me and this morning. I was like, my eyes were like red like a demon, and. But I fell asleep on the couch down here because we were watching episodes of The Expanse, and I've never seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I think it's called. And we were watching that last night. And me, Sean, and Aziz were all hanging out till like 5 in the morning.
Well, while you're struggling with that box, can I ask everybody in the chat, who's been watching Disenchanted on Netflix? Because I have, and I am loving it. Would love to see if you guys have seen it and what you think. The new Matt Groening one, Disenchanted.
You guys have watched Disenchanted, right?
We've seen the first 4 episodes. We're still watching it.
First 4 episodes they've seen. I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. It's good.
Okay.
Disenchanted is a complete Song of Ice and Fire parodies. It is Sunrixy, and it really is. It's even got an Iron Throne with swords on it. And somebody, I won't give anything away, no spoilers, but just watch it. It's so good.
Oh damn! This is 63% alcohol. My goodness. Ray and nephew, guaranteed full strength. Kingston, Jamaica. Oh, it's from Jamaica. Damn! Thank you so much, Misty. I will definitely have some of that over the weekend, and we'll share with everyone here. What else? We got something else in here? Oh, damn! We got 2 gifts. Oh, I think it's more. We got more rum, I think. Oh, so she gave us 2 Mickeys, one for Aziz and one for me. So, wow! Thank you so much, Misty, for the gift.
Thanks, Misty.
And Aziz is going to come on towards the end of the stream, and we're going to have him join the shenanigans.
Mike Armand Trout says, "Take a shot, right meow."
Mike Armentrout in the chat?
I mean, I'm drinking vodka, so it's only fair. It's not as
my God,
as yours,
guys.
but
There's one cat here, and there's one cat down here, and they're like looking at my fur coat. They're like, "There's Aziz. Aziz is right there." But like they're like ready to jump in the stream, everyone. But yeah, so thank you so much for the gift, Missy. That's awesome. Jamaican rum. This will definitely contribute to, I don't know what, this weekend.
G's name taken says 63% alcohol. That's a breakfast drink in my family.
That's a breakfast drink in your family, G's name taken? Wow, your family's crazy.
That's hilarious. We do still have more Game of Thrones stuff to talk about. A lot of
okay.
people are getting excited about Disenchanted in the chat. No spoilers, please. But if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's hilarious. If you love Game of Thrones, you will love it. If you love The Simpsons, you'll love it. But we got some new footage, didn't we? Some season 8 footage. I mean, how hype? Not very, right? It wasn't that exciting, right?
Okay, Gemma, drop the news. What was in the trailer?
Right, okay, so we got a Game of... Can we call it a trailer?
It's not, I mean, it was a snippet. It wasn't really, I mean, a trailer would have been like a minute long.
We got about 2.4 seconds of season 8, and it was literally Sansa hugging Jon and looking over his shoulder, and people have gone nuts for this. Absolutely nuts. Is this...
Cat's watching the stream, everyone. I swear to God.
Yeah, Mia Icefire and Amanda Duncan have both said that this was a tease. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And Jennifer says 2.4 seconds is generous. Yeah, you're probably right.
Some people are saying,
people are pulling it apart.
Some people are saying Sansa's gonna kill Jon. I'm like, oh my God, you got that from that? I'm like, please.
I mean, I can give you my analysis right now. She was probably looking at, and I'll let Danny, damn it, I'll let Kyle finish that sentence.
Wow, Gemma. She was probably looking at Danny. Oh, let Kyle finish this sentence. Wow. Most unprofessional podcast of all time. But that was probably Daenerys Targaryen that she was looking at, and she's like, damn, Jon's with Daenerys. Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah, that's as much as we... And that's pure speculation. Yeah.
By the way, I don't know how 100 of you are watching, but thank you for joining us. So let's start. Yeah, so, okay. So that pretty much does it for that. Yeah, that's Sansa's looking at Daenerys, and Jon looks like he's like stoically being like, yeah, that's my girl. And that's pretty much about it.
Bernie the Blunt has said Dany or Tyrion. But let's face it, or Jaime, or... Jon, no, she's hugging Jon. Or I don't know how many people. It could be literally Cersei. It could be the Night King. It could be anybody. It could literally be anybody. It could be Littlefinger back from the grave. It could be Bran. It could be Sam. We just don't know. Probably Dany though. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping we get some kind of post-production would be nice. I could roll with that. You know, no actual.
Like set location or something,
yeah,
maybe?
Yeah. I would love that. That would be wonderful. But, you know, more than a couple of seconds, like literally one split-second scene.
One thing they did say, Gemma, was they did expand the sets of King's Landing and Winterfell for this year because we've got less locations, essentially, right? And all the POVs are converging to finish the Song of Ice and Fire of the Game of Thrones, Season 8. So I think that we're going to see a lot more of Winterfell and a lot more of King's Landing. We could see a special passage in the crypts of Winterfell, I think. You know, if the Night King is going to attack Winterfell, they may need to find some sort of escape road, especially if there's a dragon overhead blasting them and keeping them in the castle while there's an army of dead surrounding the castle or entering in there. So I think that's like... I don't think I'm saying that they should spoil it, but maybe, you know, some more of the set of Winterfell being like, oh, that's something we didn't see in Winterfell, and they couldn't necessarily spoil a whole lot from it, but like maybe more of the crypts or something.
We've reached a point now, and I've said this several times now. I do feel that, I mean, and they've put us in a position as people that theorize about this for our channels, where we're really grasping at straws, to say the least, right now. So, and this is one of the reasons I've kind of backed off somewhat from theories. I feel that we've done a lot of the theories, and if we continue just grasping at every little split second that we see, but if they gave us some post-production or maybe a minute or even just 30 seconds, that's something we could really get our teeth into. That would be something fresh. That would be something we could freeze frame and really have a look. What's going on here? Is there any Easter eggs? Is there anything interesting hidden, waiting for us to find? That's something I can really start getting excited about again, and that's what I'm looking forward to. They've left us long enough. They need to give us something now, surely.
I think that we will probably get some sort of like 15-second trailer or 20-second trailer around Christmas time. HBO usually does that with their end of the year type of thing where they launch, because they had some True Detective stuff. Like they had a whole thing on True Detective season 3, which looked amazing. But it's because it's Thrones season 8, they're going to have to be very careful about how they structure everything and how they show everything, right? They don't want to reveal too much, but they are literally, and this is what we got to talk about, we haven't talked about yet, Gemma, is they are literally just getting into VFX, just starting it now.
Yeah.
And it usually takes them about 6 months, but they've said this might take 9 to 10 months this time, which means like that's pretty crazy, right? I mean, that means that this season is going to be intense as far as CGI, White Walkers, dragons, all of that.
We've got a few new people that have joined us in the chat. Thomas Gadan, Jormungand, Tim F, Mackenzie Burns. It's great to see you guys. What was your question again, Kyle?
So basically, essentially, one of the set designers spoke out in an article and talked about how she almost died helping produce Game of Thrones season 8, and she talked about the production of previous seasons. She'd been part of it since season 4, and basically, she said that this season almost killed her. And that's,
I mean, if you think about that, it's season 4 and beyond. So this person has done Hard Home. This person has done all of the special effects, the Dragon Pit, the Beyond the Walls stuff. This has been some crazy stuff gone down, all the White Walkers and everything. What could possibly, the polar bear, what could possibly be on the agenda that has made somebody who has dealt with all of that freak out? I mean, I'd love to hear your ideas in the chats. I've seen ice spiders in the chat somewhere. We've got a hashtag free ghost going on at the moment, which we always need to have going on. But what could it possibly be? I mean, do you think it's just going to be the sheer scale of things?
Well, check this out, Gemma. I mean, the Battle of the Bastards took how many? That was 25 to 27 days to film. Okay, that was Battle of the Bastards. That was a masterpiece. Okay, like that was insane.
Yes.
And the night shoot for Winterfell, Battle of Winterfell in episode 3 with Miguel Sapochnik, who's an amazing director. He directed Hard Home, all that. That took 55 nights. That's insane. That's insanity. Okay. Then King's Landing, when they finished, took around 45 days or 40 some days, like 42 to 45 days. So I think that, imagine how long it just took to edit the Battle of the Bastards alone. My goodness. And you got to think too, Gemma, longer episodes. My goodness. Is the Battle for Winterfell going to be like a 90-minute episode? Yeah, probably. We're probably getting like at least 70 minutes in that, right? I mean, we only got 6 episodes left.
Exactly. We've got some amazing suggestions in the chat for what could possibly be require so much. We've got, here we go. I'm going to read some of these out for you. Hi, Chris Mason. Lovely to see you. Where is it? Okay, Geordie Jedi says elephants. We've got some Golden Company vibes going on there. G's name taken, ice spiders.
Ice spiders,
Sydney K, Kings of Winter. Bernie the Burnt, elephants, more elephants. Dragon Aerial Battle from J.R. Rowley. Good one. The Dance of Dragons
over King's Landing.
Peter Griffin.
Over King's Landing.
Blackfire, A Song of Hype wants ice pandas.
Ice pandas? How are we going to get those in the show?
They'd just be chilling, eating bamboo and stuff, right?
But I think the Golden Company, the elephant, like, I mean, if they are going to try to do Golden Company from the books, I don't think we're going to get to the level we expected, because they've cut out Aegon and whatnot.
I've got so much more. Jar Jar Girl just on mass CGI, and I think then and Devil Dane says the sheer number of people. I think that might be right. But Joe McGann wants a direwolf army. Me too. I would love a direwolf army. And where is it? Mike Almond Trout, Dragons v Krakens. Yes.
I don't think we're getting Krakens, guys. I mean, I know. It's like even a maybe in the books. I mean, it certainly would be awesome. I would be like, damn, Krakens, that's cool. I don't think we're getting it.
Okay, they're just getting silly now. Hashtag ice pandas, ice monkeys, Ned White, snarks and grumpkins, and horned ice goats.
I think the two best suggestions were the Golden Company with the elephants,
Yeah.
like because they come from Essos and they're gonna have some sort of Essosi vibe. I don't know though. They could just be like the Unsullied and they can make them like super plain or whatever. But who knows? Hopefully they'll spice them up and they'll be really badass and they'll be kind of like one of the surprises of season 8.
I think George R. Girl wants ice krakens. At least that's the vibe I'm getting from the emojis there.
Chris
Is
Mason
that ice
says
krakens?
ice krakens. No, we're not getting that. I mean, points for creativity, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Chris Mason says Gemma and Kyle. All that's missing is Robert from In Deep Geek for the ultimate combo. Well, you know what we're gonna have is I'm gonna pull Aziz's arm here or Ashaya if they want to come on, and we can get maybe Aziz's hot take on season 8. We'll see what he's up to in a few minutes. You can join in whenever you want, Aziz. Yeah. We got a donation from Helena von Landstein, Make Mordor Great Again. Wow. Helena, you changed it again? How is no one throwing cash at Gemma? The stream feels so dirty just looking at the white Canadian pimp. Oh my God, you guys are absurd.
You do look like Macklemore. And you said you got it from
Gemma, why did you say that?
You kind of do. You kind of do. I'm sorry.
Like Macklemore? Could you at least like said like, I don't know, someone else? I don't know.
Oh, well, I'm saying who you look like.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ghost riding a dragon. Ice Dolores Ed or Dolores Ed. A phoenix person.
A phoenix person? What the hell is that?
Cosmo wants ice dinosaurs. Yeah, now we're back on the white Canadian. Hashtag white Canadian pimp. Lol.
Oh God, I can't even imagine the shots that are being like the screenshots that are being taken of this stream. Gemma already took one, and I had to post it on Facebook before she could post it, so I could get in front of it.
Yeah, if you hadn't have posted that, I completely would have. Sorry.
Yeah, but you know what we should do, Gemma? I think we talked kind of. I mean, there's not really too much to talk about other than those points, but we can just open it up to questions for like theories and stuff for Game of Thrones season 8. Maybe we can do like predictions for episode 1. No, we'll just open it up to Q&A style. Is that how we should do it? Or George, we're not going to see the return of the waif. Screw that, dude.
Sanrixian has said, "Don't forget, I'm here with my crayons."
It
just sounds so wrong. I can draw you into shame.
Sanrixian said, "Don't forget, I'm here. I can draw you into shame." Well, I'm assuming that's already happening.
We need a Macklemore, Kyle, Tormund crossover.
You know what song we need in the background? Big Pimpin' by Jay-Z. Dun, 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 dun.
I was thinking more thrift shop, but whatever.
What's that?
I was thinking more thrift shop. You could come in on a scooter, but whatevs.
We have another donation from Niels Rain as Danish Cronin. Thank you so much, my friend. I think Jamie will take Casterly Rock and raise an army to be ready for Cersei and Euron's army. I think I kind of disagree with that, Gemma. I think he's going to be in the north. I mean, he's pretty much. I mean, he could maybe. I don't think unless Cersei retreats to Casterly Rock, which I think will never happen. She's never going to give up the Iron Throne until she's dead, I think.
Yeah, I think Jamie's heading to Winterfell. Personally, I think he's going to follow Brienne because if you recall, obviously he's just left King's Landing shortly after the Dragon Pit meeting where Brienne was, so she will be traveling back. So I think he's essentially following her back to Winterfell because ultimately it was Jon who's also going to Winterfell.
Can you still hear me, Gemma? You're gonna have to nod because can you nod if you can still hear me? Okay, because Aziz is going to be coming on, so I won't be able to hear you as much. Actually,
we've got Macca-Kyle.
Okay,
more.
Sounds good. We're going to need that.
More.
So we're just going to, Aziz is going to come on the podcast, everyone.
Yay!
And then we're going to figure out something here, and Aziz is going to give us some hot takes. So Gemma, take over the stream for just a moment while we get set up here. We're going to get.
I love it so much when you just dump that on me and ask me to just take over. Herb Coswell. Q&A. Why do I have a feeling that the final moments of the Battle of Winterfell, which I think that's agree, will have a
Yep.
tone / vibe of Infinity War and ooh, yeah. No spoilers, but minus everyone turning to dust. Well, that might happen
Really?
as well.
You do it. I've never done
You probably can't hear me anyway, to be quite fair.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear a lot.
Am I yelling? Oh, I'm yelling. Sorry. Apparently, everybody's ears are bleeding. So Aziz will be getting in here in a second, everyone. Mute her. We can't hear Gemma.
Yeah, you might have me to
Oh
yourself,
my God!
you can't hear me.
Mikhail Moore? Is that a new hashtag? Mikhail Moore? Oh my God!
Mikhail Moore. Wow.
You guys are unbelievable. That is so rude of you to say.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so right.
Apparently I've got to say Irish wristwatch 3 times fast. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch.
Helena's like, this is the most unprofessional podcast on YouTube. I agree. Just not in the Thrones community, just in general.
No, I've seen way worse. Way worse. Wood Thanos' Snapture. I love that. Snapture. I've not heard that before. Jean-Luc Picard. I love that so much. Destroy half the whites. So if this was like a Marvel / Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones universe.
Oh shit, Aziz is coming from under me. Oh my God. That sounded really bad.
That sounded so wrong. There he comes.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna have to here. There's Aziz, everyone. Can you hear us both? Aziz, can you say something?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Dr. Nick.
everybody. I'm Dr. Aziz.
We're gonna close this, and we're officially. So if you guys don't know, this is Aziz from History of Westeros. He also is from the AA podcast.
I am. That's right. AA podcast, Aziz and Ashaya. It's also my initials, AA. AAA. I have so many A's. You guys know, arcade games where the high score is AAA. That's me. I have all those high scores.
He's trolling, but he's also known as Aziz Ahype, which is
totally serious.
Aziz Ahype, Azor Ahype. So there's 4 A's technically here right now.
So many A's. Hey.
So Aziz, let me ask you.
Sanchez says, "Hi, Dr. Nick."
So we want to ask you a question, Aziz. Obviously, there was that very short snippet. You want to give us a hot take on that?
Well, I agree that it's it's just like this fandom, and I mean this in a loving way and not a gosh guys way. I mean it in a loving way, that we do love to just geek out over the tiniest bit of information. And yeah, I mean, I agree with some of the theories that there's a decent chance Sansa is looking at Dany with a little side eye and like, okay, what's she all about? But it could be so many other things. It could be just she just got some news. Right before that, it could be, maybe they know the others are on the march. Maybe they hear about the army of the dead. There's a lot of things she could be kind of distracted by. I do kind of like the idea that she might be looking at Dany, but the fact that she might give Dany a side eye doesn't really necessarily mean a lot. Maybe maybe 10 minutes later, she's like, oh, this chick's pretty cool.
But that's like, why are they hugging, I guess is the question.
Probably just being reunited. I guess John went off and had this dangerous adventure, and he comes back with an army and all these people, and so much has happened. So I think maybe, it's not like their reunion when they hadn't seen each other since season 1. It's a little, but still, they've both been in some danger. A lot of stuff has happened. She's killed Littlefinger, had Littlefinger killed. Lots happened for both of them since they've seen each other. It's not a tearful reunion after years, but still, they've both been through some stuff.
Word might have reached Sansa too, like, oh, John had died, or you never know.
That's true. That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
And all these, how news spreads in Westeros is not
rumors,
always accurate. Always
absolutely,
accurate.
They things get spun out of control, rumors and lies and exaggerations. Telephone game, it's true. That's very possible. But it shows. It goes to show how ready we are, how hyped we are. We're very curious to learn what that scene means and some of the other things we know. What's another piece of news we got? That there was The Battle of the Bastards took maybe, I believe they said it took 25 days to film or 30 days. I forget the exact number.
Yeah, it was 25 to start, 27 days, and then the new Winterfell shoot with Miguel Sapochnik, 55 nights.
55 nights. Oh yeah, of course, at night. So,
but these were like 10-hour nights still, because they were like their shooting schedule was different because they had to shoot during this period to make it feel like the long night.
Yeah, I'm a fan. You know, I think that a lot of times that action on TV shows is problematic, not because it's not interesting or fun, but because it lacks tension. You know, you're always like, okay, that guy's not going to die. This guy's not going to die. You know, they're all going to live, et cetera, et cetera. Game of Thrones is a little better at that because they do very often maintain tension. You can think, okay, I can see this character dying. I can see something really bad happening. The tension's legitimate. You know, you're not just like, oh, this isn't just a bunch of cool sword swings and lances and giants. There's something that could happen in this battle that's really meaningful other than it's being really action-packed, which I think is really important. But also, so what I'm trying to build up to here is saying that, wow, it's really hard what they're doing. Whether or not, no matter your thoughts on battle, whether you think battles on TV are one of the coolest things ever, whether you have mixed feelings, or whether you think they're kind of lame because it's just a bunch of action, and it's not doesn't make you think. It's not intrigue. It's not some of the you know, people have a lot of things they like about Game of Thrones, and the action isn't always people's most favorite thing. Some people love it. I'm kind of in the middle. I think it's cool, but
I like the political intrigue and like the maneuvering and like,
the acting,
the magic,
you know,
the magic
so
and the
many,
religion,
so many things to like, right? But what I'm getting at is, holy crap, these guys work hard to make this show. I mean, 55 days of night shooting, I cannot imagine.
And then there was 45 days for the King's Landing shoot. Yeah. Gemma had mentioned that she was really excited that, you know, that we were going to be getting more of King's Landing. Like, we only thought that we were going to be getting one of these big battles. Gemma, we're going to get two, right?
Two massive monster battles.
I mean, I enjoy the battles. I mean, when they're done well, and Game of Thrones does them well. I mean, the battle on the wall, Hardhome, was breathtaking. The Battle of the Bastards, I was just sat there thinking, this is literally the best thing I've ever seen on television in my life. It's about balance, isn't it? Obviously, if it was just that all the time, I don't think we could cope. But I think they do it well. And 55 nights, did you say? That's just mind-boggling.
We're not talking about just we're talking about like the full night. Yeah. So I mean, and they also said, like, one of the set designers, I can't remember her name, the costumes, all of that. She said that season 8, like what they did on season 7 and what they did on season 8, almost like the work of 2 seasons in a truncated period of time. And she said she was literally, like, legitimately, physically and mentally completely exhausted. They had given 110% of their being into this season.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging, right?
Yeah, they put so much into it. They want it to be amazing. You know, it's the level of effort cannot be understated. And the challenges, I mean, I don't even know how to fully explain this, but from my vague understanding of how filming works, night shooting is super, super hard. And night filming a battle, and battles are hard. So you got 2 exceptional, like, tip-top of the line challenges for a film crew to deal with at once. 2 things that are rarely done.
It's dedication as well, because I mean, with the special effects and tints and lighting and things that they can do now, they could film during the day and present it as though it were nighttime. They could do that quite easily, but you're not going to capture the exact kind of atmosphere that you would get if you actually did it at night. So, you know, it's always that step further, that step beyond with Game of Thrones, isn't it?
The green screen that they used for the night shoot, I believe it was a record for the size. Titanic Studios. I can't remember what exactly was.
I believe it. I totally believe that.
And they said it was one of the 3 biggest ever, but I think it's the biggest ever for television.
Now think about this.
Oh my God, we gotta. Okay,
I'm laughing at what Helena von Lastein has written.
Where is it again, Aziz? What did she say? Donate to Patreon so Kyle can kill an entire species.
No, not that one. Become a History of Westeros Patreon. They make professional content.
I'm out.
I'm kidding. I'm still. Helena is really proving to be a mistress of shade here.
She's actually been trolling me for 3 days straight. She said, I said, you know, I was really excited to come to DragonCon this weekend because there's going to be a bunch of babes cosplaying. I'm not trying to be creepy or whatever, but she's like, well, Kyle, you can only get a 4 on Tinder. And I'm like, She's like, yeah, you're gonna get laid this weekend. She's like, yeah, but a 4 on Tinder doesn't count. So Helen's been keeping the shade going. Behind the scenes, Helen, I can't believe how rude you have been.
Think about like how when you see like behind the scenes of like a comedy where they do the same line like 10 times to get the right like combination of like people's expressions and how it looks natural and people laughing and just like the right tone of voice, the right angles. Now think of how they do that in a battle. Okay, so it's exhausting probably to do the same scene 12 times in a row when you're just talking and gesturing. But think about like Kit Harington like swinging his sword, or some dude riding by on a horse like slamming into each other, or whatever they're doing. I don't even know all the things they're doing, but I know it's like physically exerting. And like you said, at night, some of these guys are probably morning people, and here they have to work all night against their natural body cycle for 2 months.
2 months.
That's just like, it blows my mind. Like I think I know what hard work is like, but then I think about that, and I'm like, I've never done anything like that.
Gemma, actors have spoken out about this, like the Kit Haringtons of the world and other characters. They spoke about the earlier seasons when they first came into Thrones, shooting Beyond the Wall and stuff like that, and how challenging it was during the weather. Now, I'm not sure what I can't tell you exactly what the weather is like, but Aziz has a point. Imagine someone like an Alfie Allen who has to use facial expression in a scene that is super tense and has to get a point across through emotion. Imagine how hard that is as well when all these moments are happening, like, Viserion and the Night King are coming. Imagine how many it takes for someone to just get that right.
And that sounds emotionally exhausting to me. We talk about physical exhaustion, but like if you're trying to display emotions, like imagine being, a lot of us are, like I'm a podcaster, but I'm kind of introverted. Like, it's like, because it's not personal that way. That's a whole other topic. But anyway, the point is being, it's related. Excuse me. Like when you're an introverted person, socializing makes you tired, right? Or can be. It can make you tired. If you're around like your closest friends, it perks you up like an extrovert. But imagine trying to like, exert these emotions in a scene repeatedly. Like imagine how tired that would make you if you're like being sad when you're not really sad. Just doing that over and over, like that can make you tired. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's what I'm trying to get at.
And not being like for example, sleeping in your own bed, being on the road, all these. I'm sure you're taking care of, but like for example, social media is like it's something that is asking me all the time. Like, hey Kyle, how do you stay connected all the time? I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I want to put my phone down, but I realize that I have to reply to people on Twitter and all that, and that can be physically exhausting because mentally you're taking your energy and putting it into something. So we got to consider all of these things. And I know a lot of people criticize Dan and Dave, but they have done such a fantastic job on the show. And
it's not you can criticize like their choices, their creative choices, but no one could say they're not hard working.
Hardest working crew on TV.
That I will argue against. I'll totally just let someone wants to criticize choices they made. I'm like, yep, that's totally fine. I'll agree with a lot of those criticisms. But but if you're like, oh, those guys are lazy hacks,
or saying that they don't care, or
I don't agree with that either. Yeah, they care. They just care differently.
One thing that we did watch, and Gemma, you said you wanted to know a little bit more about what we talked about with George R. or what we heard from George. George went out of his way to say, hey, a lot of the ideas in the show, those are from me. So you guys criticize Dan and Dave a lot, but like, listen, a lot of these things are going to be in the books. What is your thought on that, Aziz?
Yeah, as far as the books go, I agree that I do think that's a fair criticism of them in terms of they definitely missed some of the like subtler themes that a lot of us readers picked up on that we wanted to see represented, and that is absolutely one of the best, most fair criticisms of their work in general. But the books are so rich. It's also just like an impossible challenge. I don't think that anyone could have truly carried over the books to a TV show and done it in a
5,000 characters.
That's doable, like in a way that's actually feasible. Like with sure, if you have a literally unlimited budget, unlimited time, but no, that's impossible. It's just not. That's just no one has that. Like HBO does. If anyone has a huge budget, it's HBO, and even they couldn't, drop millions and millions and they did drop millions, not like hundreds of millions. You know what I'm saying? Like they increased the budget as the seasons went on. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. Let me say real quick too. A lot of people commented on my shirt. Let me give a shout out to the person who made it. This is as it says here. Now it ends. You get the blue roses and the Tower of Joy. This was made by Jenny Slife. She's on Twitter, Jenny SLIFE. I like the shirt a lot. Of course, it's as awesome as it As it seems.
I really love shirts like that, Aziz. I've got a few of them. Those references that not everybody, if you're walking around with a picture of the Night King with Game of Thrones, everybody knows the reference, right? But if you're wearing something just slightly to left field, you'll be walking through the shopping center and you'll just get the odd nod.
Yes.
From someone in the know, and it's like, yeah, you
said that so well. You said that so well because it's like the subtle people, right? You find people that are like deeper in the fandom, like you said. Anyone who can wear a Night, I have a Night King shirt. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but yeah, you're right. Like someone who notices a Night King shirt, that might just be a fan who's seen like 3 episodes of Game of Thrones.
I'll be like, oh, that's Thrones, yeah.
Yeah, but like if you know this line,
exactly.
This shirt, by the way, someone. William Rice, one of our patrons and longtime supporter of the channel, he was wearing an Azor Ahype shirt. Okay,
nice.
At the grocery store in UK, someone as they were walking out said "Hype in love," and I was like, "Damn, there's Thrones fans everywhere." You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah,
it's
so true. It's so true. It's a great way to find them when you're out in the world. You wear that's one of the values. Like it's also you're showing your Thrones loyalty, but.
Yes.
They're also out there maybe as like trying to attract, maybe you find a new friend that way. It's how we find each other out in the wild.
What I will do, some people are asking for the link in the chat. I'm going to edit the links after the description of this video. I wasn't sure if Aziz was going to join us or not. I'll put Aziz's link to his Patreon channel and all that so you guys can check that out. Also for the shirt, Aziz will give me the link and I'll make sure you guys can check that out.
Yes.
And all of that. Gemma, you had brought up an interesting question and you kind of want, we chatted about the prequels a little bit. Do you think that the dedication that they've made to the filming, especially for season 8, bodes well for the prequels? We'll ask Gemma first, and then we'll get Aziz's take on this.
Cool.
Gemma.
Yeah, just quickly, and I did want to mention Sunrixian as well. She also does amazing t-shirts. She's put the sunrixian.com code Hype for 15% off. The North Remembers, and I've got the Queen of Love and Beauty as well, which I know Ashaya's got as well.
She does, yes. I just got one too. I haven't worn it yet. Just Sanrixian sent it. It came in the mail like 3 days ago. So,
by the way, I wore that shirt when I got one of my books signed by George R. R. Martin, and he liked the art. He liked the art, Sanrixian. So you're a badass. By the way, Helen is the only.
She's on fire.
she's so she's the best troll. She disliked this video. She's the only one to dislike this video. Thanks, I guess. I don't really know what to say to that. So Gemma, let's move forward. The prequels, and Aziz, we thank you for the rum again. We each got our own rum.
Thanks, Misty.
Aziz is already a bad influence on me.
This is the right weekend for it too. Dragon Con weekend, yeah. This is the time. For
the prequels. What was the question again? Are they going to put the same amount of?
Well, they talked about how. They talked about having the season 3 budget for the original's starting season.
Oh, okay, season 3 budget.
I don't know exactly what it is, but it's got to be significant.
Well, it's got to be pretty, because Blackwater cost a lot, so and then I believe season 3 was more than season 2. So
Red Wedding was. I don't know if that cost that much, but what was what was the big costing episode in that season?
Yeah, was there a battle in season 3? I can't recall. It's all a blur. I have a hard time thinking season.
I don't even remember season 3, man.
I remember moments, but not necessarily what season they happened in.
No, I don't think we necessarily need a humongous budget, though, do we?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I mean, season 1 was amazing. Season 1 was absolutely spectacular. There were season 2. There was a couple. Was it season 2? I think it was. Yeah, it was season 2. We didn't get to see things like the Battle of Whispering Woods, or there was a few things that kind of happened off camera almost for budget reasons.
Dracarys?
Someone pointed out the Dracarys scene.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Oh my God. Helen says, I gave this video a thumbs down. Tell Kyle more. It was me.
I want him to
know. I want you to know. Last year at Dragon Con, Aziz, there was this lady. She was quite older, and she had the Olenna outfit, and she had an Iron Throne wheelchair, and she had the Snoop Dogg
glasses. That was an amazing costume. People really, that's a cool thing about the cosplay community when you see people that are like either really young or really or on the older side. Maybe you would say that they could be a retired cosplayer, but they're not. They're still doing it. And that's so cool. I have a lot of respect for that because, you're still part of the community. You can be a part of the community at any age. But it is harder. That's the thing. It is harder to dress up when you're a little bit older, I guess. Maybe it's harder to get into a costume for whatever reasons. We'll all be there one day. So, I just have extra respect for that because I know it's difficult. I'm not a big cosplayer myself. I love cosplay, seeing it. I love seeing the other people go into it. It's just, I don't know. I just don't. I just don't have a drive for it. I guess.
But you do rock a lot of shirts.
I do. I have cosplayed a few times. Certainly, I'm not like someone who's never done it, but I've gone to more than 20 Dragon Cons because it's in my hometown. But I'm only dressing up.
He's like 704 years old. So.
Yeah, that's right. I am 704 years. So I should have been to like 100 Dragon Cons. I don't know what I was doing those first 600 years. But I've probably only dressed up 4 or 5 times out of those 20.
And you've been going since Dragon Con was a wee little thing.
Yeah, since it was 4 digits in attendees. Now it was 80,000 last year.
Expecting like 90,000.
And now it's probably going to be 85 or 90. Yeah. But I remember when it was under 10,000. So yeah, that was back in the 17th century.
Chris Mason, I was the other like tell Cersei I want her to know. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should we open up to a few questions? We're getting close to the hour mark. We're going to do probably another 10 minutes. So we can make sure we get the right amount of time in for you guys. But how about we open up some Q&As for season 8?
That sounds good.
Yeah, and then we'll sign on. Gemma, you wanna get the first question? Find a good question for us in the chat here.
Nobody's asked one yet. Let's have a
questions.
look.
Okay, someone's saying I'm not cosplaying as Dario right now. Well, yeah. If you want to say I look even vaguely like Michael Huisman, then thank you very much because that dude is hot. I'm like, I'll admit that for a second. Like, yeah, I'll take any comparison to him, but I can't say I'm trying to be book Dario. Like I have no gold teeth whatsoever.
This is pretty crazy, Aziz. We want to read this one. So tinfoil theory.
Whoa, Mel making a shadow baby with Melisandre. Okay, well, it's interesting to think of the possibility. Here's something I think is not unlikely. Whether or not John has anything to do with it, because, well, let me back up. Melisandre wants this. It seems like some of the stuff they did in season, early season 6 even was kind of like heading in that direction. And in the book, we got, Melisandre kind of making the same overtures to John, like, hey, we can make a baby
like
together.
Like she did with Stannis.
Right. So it does seem like I'm not so sure that this shadow baby will go after Night King, but I could see, I do think we'll see another shadow baby. I think Melisandre talked about how she's more powerful at the wall. She says, what these shadows that I make up here at the wall will be more powerful than anything I've made before. I don't remember the exact wording, but that's basically the gist of it. So
magic is more powerful at the wall.
Yeah. So it's kind of hanging over. It's like, Chekhov's shadow baby is coming, I can't imagine we won't see one more, at least one more, It's kind of like how Dany's been married twice, but she's married to his Dar. Well, in the show, she's not anymore because he's dead. But in the books, it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure Dany's going to get married at least one more time. She's not done married. She's not going to stay with his Dar. Come on, that's
a lot of things happen.
That's a transitional point there.
3 tends to be a circular number.
Yeah.
Especially the hero's journey. We're seeing a lot of hero's journeys in Song of Ice and Fire and the circular nature of a Song of Ice and Fire.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
We've gotten 2 shadow babies, and there's been so much talk of another one that seems super likely to happen. Yeah.
By the way, we are doing a giveaway for a signed copy of Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin, and I just wanted to kind of announce this to everyone. For everyone that is here, you can go in the description of this video at Azor Hype Media. If you send me an email for your best season 8 theory plus what a Song of Ice and Fire means to you, you can enter that.
And I'll say, if you enter Kyle's contest here and don't win the book, come to my channel because we got a signed copy also. We haven't figured out how we're giving it away yet, but we're going to also be giving one away, so there will be an opportunity there as well. So you'll have a second chance if you don't win Kyle's.
So if you just to kind of clarify for everyone, Aziz, he's been in the community for quite some time. Aziz, you read the books
2001.
2001. He's been a part of the message boards, the early fandom in A Song of Ice and Fire. And if you haven't checked out their podcast, some of your episodes are 3 hours long, and so you can
That's right.
you learn something when you listen to your podcast. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, I'll give a 2-minute explanation of what we do. Yeah, we're very big on covering A Song of Ice and Fire. We cover Game of Thrones as well, but we mostly focus on the books, but we do cover the TV show when it's in season because it's a lot of fun. The community is wonderful during the season and in general, but I love how electric and alive it becomes during the season. George has this pattern of, George R. R. Martin, that is, has this pattern of using history as its foreshadowing device. For example, I could list off a ton of parallels between Daenerys and Aegon the Conqueror. Now, you guys would know those. There's a lot of those are pretty straightforward, but there's a lot that are sneakier. Like, say, Gregor Clegane has a ton in common with Maegor the Cruel. I could give you a ton of comparisons between the young dragon and the young wolf. There's a ton of just like direct parallels that are really strong. And so the power of that, not only is you get all these new fun stories from history that George gives us like a little bit at a time, say like in one Tyrion chapter, you'll have a couple minutes of one, and then like maybe 2 paragraphs in another. And if you piece all those little tidbits together, you get kind of a whole nother story. You get like a whole nother like side story on the side of A Song of Ice and Fire that's pretty fun. But they're not just side stories. A lot of times they're actually predictive of what's going to happen. Because, for example, take the story. I'll use this example. I would take the story of Maegor the Cruel. Well, what happens to Maegor is he gets in a trial by 7, right? And he takes a head blow, a head wound. Head blow? That sounds kind of good.
I've got the head wound.
He gets a wound to the head, and he falls unconscious, and people think he's going to die. About a month later, after a little while of treatment by regular means, Tiana of the Tower gets involved, and all of a sudden Maegor comes back. It's like it's almost like
Frankenstein, yeah.
It's Frankenstein-ish. So compare that to Gregor, also trial by combat, taken out. Everybody thinks he's going to die. Someone involved with black magic comes around and brings him, and then all of a sudden he's walking around again and doing his thing. Also, Maegor was the largest Targaryen. He was knighted at an extremely early age. He had an incident with a horse when he was young. He cut a stable boy's head off during that incident, and guess who that little boy was that Gregor cut his head in half during his duel with the Viper in the book? Also a stable boy. So there's all these little tiny connections, and then there's these more major connections. And I think the reason George does this is he wants you to be clear that this is an intentional connection. The fact that Maegor and Gregor both had an incident with a horse by itself doesn't really tell you anything. But if you got like 12 of these little details that all line up, okay, Maegor's story has some parallels to Gregor's, and what does that tell us? Now, that's a small example, but when you apply that to Dany and Aegon, or Jon Snow and Aegon the Third, that's a huge one. You get like, Aegon the Third's dragon was shot out from under him. Interesting.
maybe Drogon or Rhaegar.
Yeah, and maybe he'll get shot out from under him, and that's where our undead dragon comes from in the books, like the equivalent.
Mm-hmm. So basically what Aziz is trying to say, there's tons of historical preference. George likes to do this Ouroboros effect where he repeats things through different character storylines and tries to, he hides little clues for you everywhere.
Now, if that doesn't interest you, also we make a lot of puns. That's the other thing we do.
But they do also do Game of Thrones in-season stuff. They do the podcast, and you guys do usually 1 big episode per month or 2 now.
For now, as far as our scripted episodes, yeah, we do a scripted episode. It usually takes me 4, 5, 6 weeks to get it together with Ashaya's help and everything. She's doing a lot of production, or nearly all the production. So we have a good kind of thing going as far as our teamwork. We both cover different aspects of the episode creation. And yeah, we've been doing this for long enough that we kind of built our process, and our scripted episodes are kind of our main thing. But during, like you said, during Game of Thrones season, we do 3 episodes a week, and that's all just kind of discussion. We don't have time to write a script.
You do one Unsullied with Sean because he hasn't read the books.
That's right.
And then you got to do one with Ashaya, and then you kind of do like a preview. Right?
We do a preview for the next one, yeah. And I guess we'll be able to do a few of those because these will be. It's going to be crazy with an hour-and-a-half episodes or whatever they're going to be. The coverage is going to be a challenge, a fun challenge for us who are making.
Gemma has a similar channel to you guys where she does like narrations and stuff. So I mean, you guys all know Gemma. She's the superstar of this podcast. I'm just kind of the chopped liver. I'm just here to give you guys the awesomeness and be friends with people, I guess. Gemma, so let's get into one final question of the podcast here. What should we talk about before we get off today? We haven't featured Gemma a lot today, and it's been a while since me and my bestie have hung out. So, Gemma, last question. What should it be?
There were some questions. I was just listening to you guys. It's great. Like I said, the most interesting thing that's happened to me in the last 2 weeks is I bought a Pac-Man handbag. So seriously, I am happy to sit and listen to you guys and what you've been up to and what's been going on. It's been really awesome. I'm just, here we go, Q&A. Since Cersei mentioned her son who died to Robert in season 1, doesn't that mean she was lying when she told Kat that story? Now this is potentially going to open a whole can of worms, isn't it? This is a show only storyline as far as I'm concerned. I think it was created by D&D to build a degree of pathos with the character of Cersei. That's pretty much all I've got to say about that one, really. I do think she is pregnant, genuinely, in the show as it stands. I don't think she's lying about that. I mean, where are you two on this black-haired boy?
Well, I think it's technically, I think you can argue that technically it doesn't count, I think that's the common argument, because it was, a lot of, we see this in the Song of Ice and Fire a lot, where you don't quote unquote count a baby that doesn't make it out of the first few months. And that's kind of harsh in a sense, because that was a real being, a real person, but I mean, not real because this is fantasy, but you know what I mean? Like if you were to do that, in a book, then you kind of like, does that mean you wouldn't count that kid in real life? And of course not, we would count that. So I can see why people reject that argument, but this is prophecy. It's not supposed to be like super literal. So if you're only counting the kids that like grew and she was able to like hold and love, I can see that being a fair distinction.
But George also spoke about this at Redwood City, about how he learned from other authors about magic, and if you screw up magic in the story, it ruins everything.
Yeah, you got to be really careful with that. Honestly, I was a little surprised. If you look back on it, it's almost a criticism. Not almost. I think it's a fair criticism of George inserting the Valonqar prophecy. If you look back at the history of A Feast for Crows, the meta history, which is something we do on my show every once in a while, we look at the construction of it, like the history of the history, right? Meaning like George's own process. For instance, in this case, this is a really important part of it. George released a version of Cersei's first chapter without, as a pre-release version before the final version, kind of like some of these TWOW chapters we've seen in advance. And it had no Valonqar in it at all. There's no Valonqar prophecy. He added that late in the game. He's like, you know what? I'm going to add this stuff in. And I kind of wish he hadn't. I think Cersei's more interesting with natural paranoia about this stuff. If she has a legitimate, like, magical reason for her paranoia, I just think that's less interesting.
She would have been more like Aerys.
Yeah.
Madness, like, a threat was hereditary or physically or whatever.
Although, I agree with you, although there's maybe something to be said for there a little bit more going on with Aerys, but I won't go there. I think Aerys was legitimately insane, but also there was maybe some other stuff feeding his insanity, but I won't go there. That's a whole nother topic.
You're only paranoid if you're wrong, right?
Right. So I think that Cersei, that's kind of an interesting choice that George made. He's like, I think I'm going to give her this magical reason to be paranoid and to be. So it's like something she can't get over. Like you can't get over that, which that's one of the parts of it I think it works really well, is that she can't kind of rationalize her way out of it because it's a real prophecy that she sees unfurling. Like she has got way too much proof that it's really happening because her kids are dying, or one of them. It's only in the book, only one of them's died so far, but still, it freaks her out. And then in the show, I think her kids are going to die in a different way in the books, but I do think that that's absolutely they're all going to die.
Someone had mentioned her trying to maybe get pregnant, so she's changing the future.
I could see that as well. It makes interesting. Like you do see that's kind of a common. I wouldn't call it a trope, but it's part of the prophecy trope that people try to change the result by doing something that would break it. But often that thing they do to try to break it is actually the thing that somehow.
In some twisted turn of fate, that was the thing that led to the prophecy being. It's great when that happens. But we're still talking about ice spiders.
We have another question and a donation from Matsumonti. Will the Night King be able to take over the mountain? Gemma. Ooh. It's interesting. Mountains. We don't have real clarification if he's dead, undead, or alive. He's kind of in the. I'm pretty sure he's reanimated. in a different way. But there's fire whites, and then there's real whites, and then there's
whatever he is.
Yeah, whatever he is.
That thing in zombie movies or series on TV or movies and things where people are surrounded by zombies, so they pretend to be a zombie and like just get away with it and like go away unnoticed, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm totally one of you guys. Maybe the Mountain will do that, and they just won't notice him. I mean, he's technically dead. Will they?
Is he conscious though?
I don't know. It's tricky, isn't it?
Because when Sandor is like, it's coming for you. Was in that moment was Gregor like, oh, I know what he's saying to me,
or is he just like, like what's coming for me? Dinner? I don't know. Wow. But yeah, so I think this is something I've certainly thought about a lot too. It's this whole overlap of all these different forms of animation or resurrection are happening everywhere. I don't know that I expect the others to take over Gregor, although I think it's absolutely possible. I'm more confident that they're going to lose control of him. Like Qyburn will die or something, and whether Gregor is controlled by someone else or just kind of goes off and just kind of behaves like some murderous automaton, I don't know.
Does he still feel pain? Like maybe he gets hurt and goes crazy? Yeah, we don't know.
Seems unlikely, but maybe, yeah.
Do you think Qyburn has installed some kind of kill switch? Like a safety mechanism? I don't know how that would work. But
I kind of doubt it. I don't know that, because I think this is kind of a sciencey thing. Like it's kind of weird science, like the movie.
Cersei's enabling him to continue these experiments.
Yeah, although maybe it's possible because he's given suggestions. Like Qyburn's clearly able to guide him more than just like a joystick. Like he obeys Cersei, so Qyburn had to implant that in him somehow, like the ability to like. Who do you listen to? Like you listen to her, you listen to me, and that's it. How did he teach him that? There's got to be some sort of.
He doesn't seem to be making his own choices. So
I agree. Yeah.
Like what kind of command is it? Like the Winter Soldier in Marvel, where he's getting commands out of that book, and he's been brainwashed into this state where because he's went through some sort of torture or whatever, mental torture.
And I think there's a little of his personality still in there, kind of like how Beric is like losing his personality gradually. He's forgetting his memories, losing his memories and everything, but he's still kind of Beric, even though he forgets like all this stuff. Still kind of has that core, like he's still noble. He's still kind of got the same attitudes. He just doesn't necessarily know why anymore. He's like, I don't know why I'm like this, but I am. And I think maybe in Cold Hands is kind of the same. Cold Hands is still got ranger. He's still kind of rangery, even though he's probably controlled by Bloodraven. He seems like he's got a little bit of his own personality. He's not just like a robot, just like saying, just directly speaking through Bloodraven's voice or something like that. There's only some of him in there. Like I think Bran is a little bit of a parallel there. When Bran jumps inside Hodor's brain, Hodor is still there. He's just like this kind of. Bran describes him as he's like huddling in a corner. It's kind of creepy because poor Hodor.
Yeah, it's much more creepy in the books. But obviously, the visualization in the show, it's like, oh, you can tell that, like, it's like, oh, this is not good. Yeah, it's not a good thing, but it was necessary in that moment for Bran to continue on.
Yeah,
and I mean, we don't. I guess you probably know more about this because you know tons about Bloodraven. But his true intentions, the Three-Eyed Raven in the show, we don't really know what they are.
Yeah.
So it's hard to really say like, is he misleading Bran or who he even is? There's all sorts of tinfoil theories. That's actually another version of Bran and all sorts of different things.
All sorts of stuff. There's so many theories. Yeah, whenever you have magic, there's just so many possible theories. And I think that's part of what you said about George. Like, be careful with it. You don't want to get too crazy, or you can.
That actually was encouraging.
Derail things. Yeah, it was encouraging. Yeah.
Because I don't want any time loop bullshit in the end. That would just ruin it for me. Because George has done a lot of sci-fi. You've actually been reading a lot of his stories lately.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of that.
It's really fun finding those tidbits in his other work. For example, I just was reading. I've been reading Tough Voyaging, which is TUF, Havel and Tough, and Tough has a ship that he can do genetic. He's got like all this massive genetic data bank where he can make new creatures. And one of these creatures he encounters a creature in a fight. He goes to this planet where they have fighting pits, and one of the animals in the fighting pits is a lizard lion. I'm like, oh, well, we know where that came from. That got me thinking. I'm like, lizard lion, fighting pits, genetic engineering. Wait, all this stuff is in Game of Thrones too. we obviously know there's fighting pits, right? And we know that they have animal fights in those fighting pits. And now think about the Valyrians and how close they were to Rome, right? So Valyria and Rome, there's some things that aren't similar to them, but there's a lot that was similar. And Rome is the culture that introduced gladiatorial combat to the world, and they had a lot of animals fighting animals. Now add that to consider the city that was almost the 10th free city, Gogossos, right? Which is the city of blood magic and animal experiments. That's what they did there. They were like making new animals. That's where they made the sphinxes. Valyrian sphinxes are a creation of Valyrian magic. That's something that Elio let slip by accident once that I caught. I was like, that's not in the book. He's like, oh, it's not? I guess I maybe shouldn't have said that. I'm like, well, I'm not forgetting it. So that's why sphinxes are so weird and so like they seem created, because they are. Like how possibly would that develop naturally? A head of a lion, or body of a lion, a face of a man, and the tail of a dragon? That's not, you don't just breed animals and come up with that. That's magic. So put all that together and imagine, I'm picturing this in a sci-fi setting from this tough book, and now I'm thinking, well, the Valyrians were like Rome. They made their own animals. This probably happened. The rich-ass Valyrians probably made their own animals and had them fight each other. I'm like, yeah, that probably happened. I'm like, yeah, that's so cool.
Aziz's hype levels are contagious. I agree. He's Super Saiyan level 5,000 right now. Valyria is Pompeii. Yes, actually, the Doom of Valyria is very much. The peninsula is almost the exact same thing happened.
Yeah.
So cool. I love it. And it's just a small thing. Like that probably doesn't have a whole lot to do with the main story, but it might, because maybe there's theories that dragons were invented because, we hear that the old Valyrian shepherds tamed dragons, which is, maybe that's what happened. But at the same time, we have wyverns in Sothorios that are huge flying creatures that don't breathe fire, and then amongst the 14 flames we have fireworms
in the pits, and the slaves in the mines of Valyria when they're ushering this huge empire. When Valyria was expanding, that's where no one originated.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, so all this stuff is like, man, George has put some thought into this. It's not just a backdrop.
Oh my goodness, you guys have been so hype in the chat. Yeah, there's really so much that we can talk about. But I think we're gonna end the stream. We've had a lot of fun today. Aziz's got to do some stuff. I've got to go get ready for some.
So soft.
But we would like to thank you for coming in today. Gemma, any final thoughts on the season 8 stuff that we saw, and what are you doing for the next little bit on your channel?
I think we've just about covered it, haven't we? I mean, like I said, I'm really looking forward to some kind of post-production. I do hope we get something that we can really get our teeth into. I actually really enjoy doing that freeze frame thing where you're just analyzing every single, but I need new material to really do that, What am I doing on my channel? I'm still going through my unraveling the text. I'm still plodding my way through. But I'm doing accompanying theory videos for each chapter, so if something comes up, we've got some amazing hashtags going on in the chat right now.
Aziz and his pussy love. Wow. You guys are. This is definitely getting demonetized now.
What else? I'm doing Dunkin' Eggs still. I've got a couple of chapters that I'm editing, not chapters because there isn't chapters for Dunkin' Egg. I'm reading. Basically, I read until I can barely talk anymore because my mouth's so dry, and then I edit that section and stick it on Patreon, which is great. I would love to be able to share that with everybody, but copyright, it can't just be a free-for-all on my main channel. But that's about it, really. I'm sure Kyle's put all the links in the description as always.
I have not actually. I've not been as prepared this time. Picture. So thanks, Gemma. Of course, we haven't decided what our next podcast episode is going to be, but me and Gemma thought that we would let the patrons of our channel, and we're going to do a poll on Twitter and kind of see what you guys would like us to talk about. Gemma?
Also, just quickly before I forget, I'm also working on a collab with Grey Area. We're going to be discussing Jaqen H'ghar and how on earth did he end up in the Black Cells in the first place.
So great Area, another great YouTuber. We will definitely, whenever that comes up, we'll retweet that on Twitter, and we'll make sure
awesome.
that no worries. Thanks, Gemma, for joining us again and putting up with my unprofessionality, if that's even a word. Aziz.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. It was awesome to jump on the stream. This is one of the fun parts of the community. We can just kind of just do that, you know, like kind of on a moment's notice. We plan a lot of times we plan, but a lot of times we don't, and it just works out. So that's cool. And I'm glad you guys could make use of our space for recording an episode.
That was the first comments that were coming up. They're like, "Oh, the history of Westeros background." It's like synonymous, like when you guys are doing your live streams or whatever, your chats.
So as far as what's next for my show, and me and Ashaya are working on a couple different things. We've got our next episode is going to be on Nymeria, the Nymeria of the Rhoynar, not the Direwolf, although there'll be some parallels there. And as I mentioned, there's all these parallels between characters and historical figures. Aegon the First is the main parallel for Daenerys, but Nymeria is just as strong a parallel. Ooh, that's pretty good. Parallel of for Nymeria. They have a ton in common, including that bit about the marriages. You know, Nymeria married 3 times. Her second marriage was political, and just like Dany's second marriage was political. So yeah, little things like that. So we'll be looking for, and you know, maybe the fate of the Water Gardens is written into that history as well. So a lot of fun stuff like that we're working on. We're going to do Bloodraven Part 3, which is the modern Bloodraven, as in once he goes to the walls. That's the story picks up right there. And we're going to do a live stream on Melisandre. I feel like there's a deserved amount of attention on Stannis because Stannis is a great character, but Melisandre is super important, and I think that sometimes she gets pushed a little over to the side because Stannis love is so popular, but Melisandre might have more to do than Stannis in the long term. Maybe not as much politically and not as much with armies, but maybe she's going to be recruiting a bunch of R'hllorist worshippers from Essos. Maybe that's why she left the continent in the show, because it seems like that's going to happen in the book, bringing in. Whoa, boy, am I really going off on a tangent here? Anyway, I'll go into more detail with that in the actual episode. We'll save that for later. Anyway, that's just how I do. I can't stop myself. So thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Gemma.
Ashaya also does say
guys.
hi.
Yeah, hi.
Aziz, Ashaya's doing her thing over here. Thank you, obviously, for letting me stay here, guys. I will put the links in the description of this video for all of you that haven't subscribed. I don't know what you're doing if you haven't. And I want to thank everyone for being here in the chat today. All of you are super generous. And yeah, it was really fun. We will see you again soon. And of course, DragonCon Hype. We're going to be covering some of the North Remembers How to Party and some of the other things this weekend. So thank you again for joining everyone today. And we will see you in the next video. Aziz Ahype. Aziz Ahype. Life and love.